Welcome back to Super Mario Odyssey.
Okay, this pillar.
Good
All right,
luck.
the map. The map is like a travel brochure. It's always a travel brochure for every world you go to. It brings attention to that landmark specifically as being this sort of age-old, timeless landmark. We just knocked it fucking down because it was in our way. Mario is an asshole.
I mean, it is ultimately just a rock.
This is
Well, I'm
news
also
to
surprised
you?
it's been standing as long as it has.
Well, you know-
It looks very top heavy.
Well, the Grand Canyon is ultimately just a crack in the ground, but I think people would be really pissed off if someone dumped a bunch of toxic sludge in there and turned it into a
The EPA will,
Hey,
the
you
EPA
wanna?
will be-
Hey,
the
we
EPA
should
will
dump
get
our
to that.
toxic sludge into the Grand Canyon. Yeah, let's.
Always something behind the waterfall.
Yeah. So early on, the game is very scripted. So there's a lot of stuff that's here that's not. You can't just do anything. Like if you come back to Fossil Falls later, that's a warp. I think to the. I
think
don't
that,
remember
that,
where
that
it
It's
was.
the-
painting
it's the-
actually,
it's the
I think that
Bowser
painting
one.
stays locked until post game.
It's the Bowser's, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of post game.
Which is weird because they won't spoil the Bowser Kingdom, which we all knew was kind of going to be there anyway.
But they spoil the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Bowser Kingdom is we'll get to it, but it's different than our traditional.
It's different, sure, but it's one of those we knew we were going to go to Bowser's something.
Yeah, but the weird thing about that decision is like they spoil the Mushroom Kingdom, which is a cool nostalgic thing, but they won't I think the reason that they don't spoil the Bowser Kingdom is because we wouldn't have expected a Asian themed Bowser Kingdom, considering his castles tend to be pretty medieval.
I guess.
So it's okay. Bowser entered his weeb phase. It's fine. He'll get over it once he gets out of middle school. Okay.
He's designing his house around Bowser Jr.'s teenage Naruto phase or something.
You know what? Bowser's a dick not inviting his own son to his own wedding. God, wow.
Yeah, what is up with that? The Koopalings got the shout.
Not even
too.
the Koopalings there.
Yeah, well, they're not his actual children. So
Missed opportunity with the tutorial videos because those pop up sporadically when they want to introduce you a new tool to for platforming. The hand should have had Mario gloves and overalls.
Yeah.
So one thing I do like about this game is not that it has I like the story elements in this game because it's a Mario game. There's not a lot of story, but they put in enough effort to make it feel like you're actually working towards something and like you're on an adventure and there's characters to talk to and you're working towards a goal.
They're not assholes, Piantas.
But yeah, I would say that like barring Sunshine and the possible exception of Sunshine and the Paper Mario games, or possibly Mario and Luigi. I haven't really gotten into that series.
There's lots of talking in Mario and Luigi.
Yeah, barring Sunshine and the RPGs, this is probably the most solid the Mario world has been in a story. And you can argue that there are things that Sunshine does better. I personally prefer this one, but
It's not that there needs to be a lot of plot, but there's more character, which is important in any game that you're going to.
The thing about it is having all that character and that sense of world building and adventure does contextualize the gameplay experience to a point where it gains an additional charm point for having that stuff, or multiple charm points, depending on how well it's done.
You can get up there, Ryan. Come on, you can do it.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, this is an experiment. You're seeing me try to figure out things in real time.
I
So
think
we have to watch
since
it.
this is your first
Well,
time.
no, I do lots of editing, so don't worry about that. It's like I haven't figured out the dive maneuver yet.
Yeah, so the jump, wall jump, dive into the hat, bounce
Yeah.
off the hat, dive back on is something
Yeah.
that takes it took like a good, I think, like at least 5 hours for me to figure out how to do that, and it took me another 3 to get good at it. But once you get good at that, like damn, you feel like a superstar.
Can I cut in? It shouldn't take you that long to figure out how to do it.
Well, it's not
There's a
necessarily.
move list.
You don't,
Oh,
yeah, but you don't
it
figure
doesn't-
out
it
to
doesn't-
use it in that way, I guess is the thing. You don't realize that you can Mega Man X your way up certain walls by doing that, or make jumps
Also,
that
I
feel
don't
like...
really blame Ted for not looking at the travel brochure to learn skills because, to my knowledge, no other 3D Mario game had you learn about the basics in such a manner. I wasn't used to it like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
Mario
wouldn't
64.
I wouldn't look at-
Mario 64, sort of.
I know they bring up the travel brochure a lot, especially when you're traveling between each world. But even
Shut up,
then,
Cappy.
I was very much like, I'm gonna play the game, learn as much as I can by myself, and then a couple worlds in, I finally paused the game and looked.
I don't
at the
know.
menu.
It seems like, I don't know, just a smart thing to do in my mind to at least glance over what the options in the menu are so that you know
you're right. The
if
smart
there
thing
is
to
a
do.
list.
Do I look smart?
Yeah.
Oh my
Fucking
God, Mario!
T-Rex.
Oh, that's very nice.
Oh my God, Mario Odyssey is such a Banjo-Tooie ripoff. Jeez. Oh man, worst game ever. 0 out of 10.
Jurassic World 2 looks great.
No, it doesn't. Don't lie.
It has an interesting concept.
Yeah, but it got really weird when they started throwing their hats all over the place and possessing things.
Chris Pratt just does not make a convincing Mario. I'm sorry.
This is also the only thing you capture in the entire game that you can't hold on to indefinitely because apparently it's too large.
Yeah, it's a
Which
T-Rex.
doesn't really
Its
make
tiny
any
brain
sense.
is too hard to control for Cappy for some reason.
No, wouldn't it make it easy if it's tiny?
I don't know.
The main reason for that is that because there's a lower level to this area that we can't get to yet, where there's an actually hostile T-Rex.
No, that's a different kingdom.
Use those motion controls,
Oh,
Ryan.
it is a
I
different kingdom?
don't
Oh yeah,
wanna.
you're right. It's the Jungle Kingdom that has that. I forgot.
No, it's Steam Gardens has it underground.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was.
There's also technically a hostile T-Rex in New Donk City, but that's an easy to miss side area.
It's Steam Gardens has a jungle underneath,
Yeah.
and
All right, so I guess how do you guys feel about the motion controls and the gimmicks?
They're
Stop
related to
forcing.
those?
Stop throwing them in there. I just like my analog stick.
Okay,
It
well
should be
since
said,
okay,
I'm assuming you're using a pro controller. Right?
Yes.
Most of the motion gimmicks they introduce you to can be done with the pro controller without using motion. For instance, the 360 spin. can
Yeah,
be
but you have
done
to
if
wind
if
it up though.
You have to spin the analog stick until Mario does his little spinning animation, and then throw the
They can be done
hat.
with a regular controller too, but it's even more awkward there because the analog stick is not great.
I like it.
yeah, so it's
You're not great.
It's okay. You see, honestly, it's not that bad. You have to shake the thing every once in a while. It's really not that
I
hard.
have-
It's no more
you
in
have
depth
an
than
X-
the shake
you have
in
an
Mario
X-
Galaxy.
You have 2 extra face buttons that are doing the same thing as 2 other buttons already on the face. Use them.
Nah.
Yeah,
Or-
I agree. The thing about that, the problem with the motion controls though, is that they're made more convoluted than just doing the spin in Galaxy by the fact that you can accidentally do the wrong move if your motion is just slightly off. So
I never
wound
really
up-
had that problem.
I
But
wound up not using the upward throw, even though there were situations where it would have sped things up a little, because when I try to do it, sometimes I accidentally do the spin or another move, and
yeah, well, there's just a lot of stuff that the motion makes really, really helpful. Like, for example, if you're rolling, you can shake the controller and roll really, really, really fast. Like, damn. And it's just, I never really
Now
had
look
a
who's
problem
copying
with it.
Sonic.
Yeah, well, Mario has a better spin dash than Sonic ever has. So
I'm not against the motion commands for moves on principle. I think they could have been implemented much better, though.
It should be said, I have not played this game with both of the Joy-Cons detached from the.
apparently, it
monitor.
makes certain things easier, like the upward throw or whatever. But
And
Yeah.
I can kind of, and I can see that. It's just, I was determined to make this pro controller only for my playthrough, and I was able to do pretty much everything the game wanted me to do without any trouble.
you're never
except for
ever
when they
really
want me to, like-
required to do the upward or downward throw.
Well,
either.
there's a counter.
No.
There's a counterpoint to make about the that happens so
Great,
often to
Mario.
me.
Now we don't have enough to get back.
There's a counterpoint to be made, about the notion that separating the Joy-Cons makes motion easier, and that's that. Yeah, that's great, but it's only great for console play. If you kind of want to be that guy who's playing it portable, you can't really
You have to
make
shake
use
your
of
whole
that.
system.
Well,
No, you see,
tabletop
Lewis,
mode? Question
I
mark?
live to be that guy that takes his Switch to the airport and does the double Joy-Cons and smacks my person next to me on the airport.
Hey, dude,
That's
okay,
fun.
you know, I know we all make fun of Nintendo Switch commercials, but it is really, really fun to be like, hey, guys, we can play together. Snap off Joy-Con, hand it
Now,
to person.
you two can be the reckless silhouette guy.
Oh, man, dude.
Only you're hitting everybody.
Okay, so here's the thing that I want to gush about Odyssey for a moment. I am really sick of 3D platformers putting 2D sections into their games. Like, I hate it when Sonic does it. I hated it in Galaxy when Galaxy did it. But Mario Odyssey, just by making it 8-bit and adding that little extra charm and changing the mechanics slightly, it didn't feel like, oh, we're just going to make the game 2D because 2D is popular, I suppose. It made me actually, like, interested in finding a 8-bit section as opposed to, oh,
Yeah.
we're going to make this section 2D because we don't like 3D Sonic, so we're going to make our 3D Sonic 2D Sonic. And
Yeah. There's also the added element that by separating it in that way, it winds up feeling like you found a bonus level.
yeah.
Yeah.
So-
To tap into my my cringeworthy Sonic fanboy here, though, I played a lot of Mario 1 as a kid, like NES Mario 1, so I'm used to it controlling a certain way, and the Odyssey 2D sections are not one-to-one the same.
That's
So there
that's
are-
what threw me off with Mario Maker a lot because they don't
Yeah.
control like what.
Well, no,
they
I
do in
think
the game.
I think Mario Maker did a better job with it. The Odyssey ones are good enough, but there are times where I kind of mistimed the jump because I was thinking I was gonna have more momentum that I would have.
They
in
never
the
really
NES
make you
game.
do anything strenuous in Odyssey.
No, to be fair, you're absolutely right. To be fair, they don't do that. Well, except for maybe one moon I can think of later, but
Okay, I get the Brutals. What is the deal with this character?
Oh, she's their boss.
she's just walking the dog.
she's the
Wait,
brutal
was she
boss.
too big to fit on the airship?
I guess.
I'm surprised though she's not made a bigger deal.
Yeah, like she
she's big.
appears
She's
here.
big enough as it is, huh?
Oh,
She
okay.
appears here, disappears for 90% of the game, and then just pops back into existence on the moon. And it's like, okay, we're not gonna build this character up at all. Fuck me. Okay then.
I don't know if I'd tell this rabbit to fuck me personally, but you know, everybody's got a type, and I won't judge.
He's kidding. He's totally judging.
Not out loud.
Yeah,
I'm
it's all
not.
fun and games until the chain chomp starts bringing out a
mean,
video
as
camera. It's like,
far as-
hey, wait a minute.
As far as the rabbit people bosses go, this is probably my favorite.
I
But-
like fighting Harriet because okay, so that's the girl one. One thing I do like about the brutal boss fights, everyone except this one actually, is that there's ways to speed them up. You don't have to do the wait until they have the, you know, we're gonna do the attack and then you can obviously counterattack me. But there are ways to speed almost all of the bosses up so that they take like half the time. And this isn't just speedrun stuff. It's stuff that you can find just by acting quickly in a normal playthrough. Like you can knock bombs back or hit somebody during like a split second during an attack period or something.
Or utilizing one of Cappy's abilities to your advantage.
Yeah, which is I think
Again, not necessarily speed run, but something you can do within game that they tell you about.
yeah, it's just one of those things. Again, none of these bosses are, I'd say, phenomenal, but they stop the traditional Mario problem of, oh, they're going to do an attack. Oh, they did the attack, I can counterattack, bonk. Okay, 2 more times and then we win.
I will say I like the idea of making the game's Grand Star equivalent, let's say, significant more in the sense that they have more power, more moon power, rather than being the MacGuffins you need to open up the next world specifically.
Yeah, I have that. I don't remember. Did the Grand Star in Galaxy count towards your total?
Yes,
Yes,
it
it
did,
did.
but
Or
it
they
only
s-
counted
But it only
one.
counts as
It
one.
just
It only counted as
Just
one.
one.
Yeah, the only
Okay.
significance of
still
it was
only
that you
counts as
needed
one.
it. Yeah, still only counts as one. The only significance was that you needed it to open the next room on the Comet Observatory, or to open the way to the next world in Galaxy 2, which was a little. Well, did they do Grand Stars in Galaxy 2?
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, but it was window dressing in that one because you needed to fight the boss to get over to the next world anyway, and it was like the only thing in your way between that and the next world. So,
Yeah, but one way to play this game that's really, really fun though is to just go for all of the story mission stars basically. And like if you do that, moons. Sorry, if you do that and you just go for all of the story mission moons, you only have to get like a few in each kingdom because they give you so many on the way and the multi moons and stuff like that. And it's you can beat the game in like 4 hours if you're an experienced Mario player, and it's a really fun way to play the game. Like, again, not like a speed run, but if you want to play through like the main story and most of the traditional platforming challenges, it's a great way to do
What do you
it.
mean, Ted? You don't want to go for nipple percent?
No.
You don't have to spend ages and ages collecting things unless you want to in this game, which I appreciate. However, it's pretty obvious that they loaded the game up with like a bajillion side items because they wanted the game to last, which was a good decision from one perspective. It seems a bit superfluous, but at the same time, when this game came out, the Switch didn't necessarily have a huge library, and it still kind of doesn't.
It's actually really
So-
funny. There was a panel at GDC about Splatoon, and they were talking about like when the times people tend to play and stuff like that. And they noted that when Super Mario Odyssey came out, there was a significant drop in people playing Splatoon 2, which is really, really funny. It's like, okay, they have this chart. It's like, okay, there's bumps whenever there was an update, and Mario Odyssey came down. People aren't playing our game as much anymore.
Yeah.
Out of all the 3D Mario games, though, in terms of what you can do, I honestly feel though Odyssey overdid it.
Yeah, it
because
overdid
this
it.
game it to 100%. This game is exhausting.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't necessarily agree with that. Like,
I think
I'm with
I think,
Ted, but then again, these are also my these are my bread and butter kind of games.
Well, Ted, we'll start with you. Like,
well, here's
why
the
is this
thing.
not
Like,
really
you
about
don't need to 100% it is the thing. Like, I think, honestly, the best way to play this game is just explore as much as you feel like and then keep on going. Like, I can understand why people are like, oh, there's too many moons, but it's just like, at the same time, if there were less moons, then you'd just be complaining about how there's too much empty space. So it seems like you people are just a bunch of whiny bitches. From my point,
Okay.
I'm joking.
Okay. The fake cockiness aside,
Yeah.
I do want to say I understand why they did it, and I sort of agree with John. Sort of, like having a single-player game in this genre that has like a fuck lot of potential game time to it, most of which is to your individual comfort level, I think was a good move for the Switch at the time this came out. I also think that the game is best not marathon completed.
It wasn't
you know?
designed, from what I've read in interviews and stuff, it wasn't designed to.
The-
There's
yeah.
there's 800 and whatever moons because they wanted you to,
893, I believe.
there's
Yeah,
that many
you
moons
can,
so that you could find one if you were playing for only 5 minutes.
Yeah,
was the
yeah,
idea.
and you know that's one design mentality. On the other hand, you have to understand when you're designing this kind of game, you have to understand that there are going to be a lot of players who approach every game they play that way. There are a lot of players who are most comfortable focusing on one game at a time for all of their game time over a period of days or weeks.
Mario,
And
why
for
are we
me
going back?
specifically-
Mario, Bowser's heading that way. Mario.
There are
then-
moons to collect.
Specifically, Mario games have always capped at 100. Always capped at 120 MacGuffins, whatever you needed to collect, and they took time to collect, but within a reasonable amount of time. Odyssey decides to stretch that. I want to say to its logical limit, but I have a certain way of playing 3D Mario games, and I've had this way since Mario 64, and this game is clearly trying to emulate that. So I'm kind of expecting it to be that way, but it's like 9 times larger than what it was originally. And when I'm realizing that, wow, I'm still in this world, and I still got like 50 moons left, I guess.
Yeah.
I tap out. It's like you know what? I'm gonna move on.
Yeah, well,
it can be-
that's why that's the best way to play it. If you just explore what you want, and when you're done, you move
but you see,
on.
I like leaving a world because I feel because I know
You
for a
feel
fact
you've
I've done
conquered
everything.
it, at least
Yeah,
for the
I've
time
conquered.
being.
I got everything I've needed. Not because
Yeah.
I'm tired. I need to go.
And
I
when
gotta
I
go.
first played the game, I approached it with the same mentality. It got a little exhausting, so part way through I changed my tack, and I felt a lot more comfortable by the end of it. I just I got however many moons I felt like getting, and then I left.
Now, to be fair, when I left the world and I went to go explore a new world, I was rejuvenated because I really liked the next world and what they offered. But then again, it's like clockwork. At the end of that
Yeah.
world, I'm like, Oh,
You see,
So,
I just
what round?
hold on. This is the most important part of the game: fashion. Ryan, no, Ryan, no. What do you do? Okay, good.
I'm one of those guys who likes to get all the coins first, so I know exactly how many I have.
Well, the thing about that, and you wouldn't necessarily have known this until you'd played through a few worlds. I didn't, but there's always exactly enough coins in every world to get all of the purple coin items.
Yeah,
So
obviously.
you can just buy them up as you get them in the order that you want them.
Yeah, but it helps me remember exactly where I've gotten coins. It's like, okay, so I spent a few. I have 12. Where did the other like 7 I
Yeah,
spent?
but I think
Whatever.
I think you can just check the menu to see
Yeah.
how many.
I
you
think
can-
all
you
you have
can,
to do is
but-
pause.
It's not necessary to do that. Like when you're playing blind, you don't necessarily have that right away. I didn't. I was pretty much doing exactly what you're doing first. I was gonna say though, like when I accepted that I wasn't going to be, cleaning out the worlds at like 2 or 3 worlds into the game, I stopped trying. I realized that the more I liked a world, the more moons I collected in that world before clocking out anyway. So I got like everything in New Donk City the first time through, and I didn't feel tired.
Well, one thing about this game that I do like though is that it tries its best to avoid the where the hell is the last moon problem. There are a few exceptions. Like I had to look up like the one where you look into the sky with the
Oh no, the
periscope
hint
and
art.
find-
A lot of the hint art moons I just had to look up.
Yeah, but the thing is that with Takachu and the
Hint Toad.
in the Hint Toad and the Amiibo thing, if you don't want to pay the Hint Toad, basically if you can't find a moon, the game will basically tell it to you, which I think is a good way to do it.
Somewhat, they'll give you the name of it, and they'll give you like a map blip to direct you to the general area. But the map is 2D, so it could be up high, down low, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
so you still have to look. But
I mostly did with
it's kind of
I'm
like finding the fucking feathers in Assassin's Creed 2, which was not fun until I got the map.
I mostly went for Hint Toad
Yeah,
because the names are either completely useless or it tell you exactly what to do and you don't have to figure it out. The Hint Toad at least gives you, okay, I don't need to look in this chunk of level, it's just in this chunk of level, so that narrows my search at least.
yeah. I just wish
Yeah.
that they had a function like that for the purple coins that wasn't tied to the Bowser amiibo, but
Yeah.
we'll get to that in a
Yeah.
different part for
But
sure.
the other thing to do with the other thing though is that the levels aren't with a few exceptions, the levels aren't that large. They're smaller than I expected actually. From what we were seeing in previews. So, yeah, it's not that strenuous to find the next moon.